I took a step back and I started thinking, like you said, thinking strategically, what is the end goal of sealing this deal? What is the end goal of working with this corporate client? So we went back and forth with some negotiations and some different ways that helps the organization, but it also helps me so that because I knew that I was worthy. And we ended up with time with me solo on the main stage and also getting a larger compensation, which was it was a lot. It was a lot to wrap my head around that someone wanted to compensate me for that amount of time for at that amount of money, and it kind of blows your mind.
Hello, Lindsay, and welcome. I am so excited to be interviewing you for this Swagger success story. Because a lot of times I think people think landing corporate clients is a little bit mysterious. Okay. They think it's like, or they think it's not for them, it's for other people. So let's just dive into today's conversation. First, if you wouldn't mind introducing yourself, tell the people who you are, what you do, and how you serve corporate clients.
My name is Lindsay Trammell Jones, and I am the founder of Fiercify Creative and Consulting. And we are a user interface company who help those that are fighting for equity across health, workforce, equity, period. And how I serve corporate clients, I just started. Like you helped me. I play with the idea, and I'm looking at strategy and keynotes, which you helped me get to the first step. So I'm excited.
Okay. All right. Well, not too bad, right? In terms of just going in with a bang. So,
Yeah.
you and I talk a lot about, redefining what success looks like in entrepreneurship. And I'm curious if there were any mindset shifts. So, what if any mindset shifts did you have to overcome to even really consider, right, taking on organizations and serving more clients? Talk us through what was going on for you as you were preparing and thinking about how might I expand my business in this way?
So there are quite a few mindset shifts. I would say one of the main ones was with a southern upbringing is how I show up physically. Like, do I have to be prim and proper? Do I need to be in heels? Because my grandmother would dress me up with the matching hat, the gloves, the belts, the shoes, like the whole nine. Did I need to have all that, or can I show up in my Jordan ones and be okay? Um, Another mindset shift was that I do have the knowledge and the ability, even though I'm not full time in my business. I have experience I'm active duty Army, so I have experience from my job that correlates to being able to help those in corporate spaces. So I had to shift my mindset that no, I'm not a one trick pony. I have a lot to offer, and realizing that it is something that corporate clients need, and there's different ways to deliver it, and there's ways to deliver it and that align with who you are as a person.
We work with a ton of folks who have full-time 9 to 5 roles, right? And they're
Mhm.
doing that corporate consultant thing on the side. Talk to us about how you envision those two pieces fitting together.
From a professional development perspective, far as my military life is concerned, I only have 3 years left, so my business is my retirement plan. And I've been in so long that I have several people that work for me in the military, and I'm always telling them you got to take that uniform off eventually. So think about what's next. As much as I want you to be in the present, in the moment, and we have to, of course, accomplish what we have to do here. But I don't want you to have the Army become your personality and solely who you are. So that's how it has helped me expand professionally as far and even personally, and it's also gave me a little more confidence because I can't hide behind the uniform. A lot of people hide behind the uniform, they have nothing else, and I know that once I take this off and take the uniform off in 3 years, there's not I'm just a regular person like everybody else. So I have to leverage who I am and build that personal brand instead of Lindsay the service member.
Ooh, my business is my retirement plan. I love
Yes.
that so much because I think we get mired in the day to day, right? And we can sort of narrow our focus, but look at the expansive view you took to say, how do I, right, chart the path ahead, right, and think about the bigger picture. And I think so often folks tend to hide behind their job titles. They hide behind that role. Folks hiding behind the uniform. But there's so many opportunities when we reimagine the path ahead that really allow us to shake things up. So you were there in that moment. You said, I know I want more. I am more, right, than just my day to day role. And you started to lay the foundation. What were some of the initial steps that you had to take to position yourself to set the stage for success in landing a corporate client?
So some initial steps was, of course, to grab some swagger. So if you don't have any, grab a little bit of swagger from the school and start thinking of yourself as being worthy of not just a hourly rate or just a yearly salary. Think of yourself as being worthy for being paid for your expertise and what you have to offer. So that was the first foundation I had to wrap my head around, cuz I looked at the offerings and I had to pinch myself a couple times like, is this serious? Is this really happening? Is Ashton Kutcher, is that you? But it just takes some time for you to wrap your head around, and for me to wrap my head around that. It's real. It's tangible. You can do it. And anyone can do it. If I can, anyone can.
Absolutely. So you knocked down my door, you got yourself into the swagger courses, right? And you started to say, right, how do I do this differently? How might I do this differently? I think it's interesting the entry point that you chose, because a lot of times people think of corporate, they think stuffy, they think dry, they think boring, but you picked a really fun splash, right, with a company that really fit into your wheelhouse. So talk to us a little bit about the types of organizations, right, that you make a good partner for, and how you kind of thought about that within, how do you kind of enter the market?
So I picked a tech company that helps with website user interface and helping you understand your data analytics. And because that's something that I use for my clients, it made it an easy sell for me to be able to pitch myself to them, because I know the program, I know the software, and I know how it's helped people because I've seen it firsthand. So when it came to choosing what type of corporate clients, it was easy. Tech, that aligns with what I offer, and it's something that I use. So I felt comfortable putting myself out there with them and being on their stage.
Absolutely. I mean, I always say sell what you know. Okay. Sell what you know. The issue that folks run into is when they try to sell what they don't know now. They try to
Mhm.
kind of be right what they believe to be the version of success versus really leaning and anchoring and owning their expertise and their experiences. So you did that so beautifully in terms of really identifying a potential partner that fit within your wheelhouse. But you push the envelope a little bit as well. You talk a lot about creating greater equity in
Mhm.
terms of the world. And so, how are you thinking about your message, the impact that you can have as you sort of widen your footprint with potential partners in the future as well?
Um, my messaging, I am starting to be more specific. Before I was broad and I was afraid if I said those fighting for equity that I'm gonna have all the trolls. Like kind of like the when people are like cancer sucks, or somebody says, "Well, what about AIDS?" Like
Mm,
I didn't want to have to deal with the naysayers. Now that I'm into the work and I'm paying more attention to what's going on in the world around me. Before I was like, before I had niched down into working with those with equity, I didn't really pay as much attention. But now that I pay attention, I'm like, this is why this person is doing this work. This is why this person is doing this work. So I feel like I'm more in the fight. I know the strategy behind why people that work in that space exist, and I can speak to their passion because I've experienced it myself. I've experienced it as a girl growing up in the South in North Carolina. I've experienced it as a woman in the military because this the male dominated society. So I've experienced it, and I see that it's not just in my little bubble problem. It's a world. It's a problem across the United States, across the world.
Absolutely. And the clearer you get with your messaging, the more specific you get with your messaging,
Mhm.
the easier it is to attract organizations whose values align to your own. So really exciting to see you kind of coming into right that next level voice, right? That has something to say and wants the world to hear about it. So it's one thing to have a big vision. It's one thing to be super strategic, right? And pick great partners. But then it gets into the messy middle, right? Where you're in the negotiation and you're kind of having to advocate for yourself, right? And it's sometimes there's a little bit of that imbalance, right? Because we feel like we're going up against a bigger brand, right? We are a smaller brand, right? And then you kind of feel like a little bit of a small fish in a big pond. Talk to
Yeah.
us a little bit about how you prepared for that negotiation, how you advocated for yourself, and maybe one thing that surprised you as you were negotiating that deal.
So beginning business me would have taken the smaller offer, the first offer that they gave me, which was on a panel and a smaller compensation. And I took a step back and I started thinking, like you said, thinking strategically, what is the end goal of sealing this deal? What is the end goal of working with this corporate client? So we went back and forth with some negotiations and some different ways that helps the organization, but it also helps me so that because I knew that I was worthy of the smaller compensation that they were offering, and we ended up with time with me solo on the main stage and also getting a larger compensation, which was it was a lot. It was a lot to wrap my head around that someone wanted to compensate me for that amount of time for at that amount of money, and it kind of blows your mind. And it just I had to have a conversation with myself and my husband, who is men look at things differently. He's like, good, that's a good job. Like he was like, you deserve it. But me, I'm like, do I really though? And so I had to have some conversations with myself and of course with my support system and just realize like this is it. This is your time. Take it.
This is your time to shine, okay? Because a lot of people, I know the training you did with us, the Price Your Corporate Proposal training, it talks about the tangibles and the intangibles of deal
Mhm.
making, right? And oftentimes, right, we feel so tempted to just say yes to the first offer because we're so
Yeah.
excited for the opportunity, the visibility, right? The moment to be in the spotlight. But you took a step back. You said, look, there's a bigger picture at play here. And you advocated in a way for yourself to really take that first opportunity and amplify its impact, right? In terms of the deal you
Mhm.
ultimately ended up closing. So excited to see you soar, right? In that way. And I just know that the sky is truly the limit for you as you take your B2B biz to the next level. So if you were to give some advice to someone who is maybe in your shoes like a little bit earlier on the journey and just kind of
Mhm.
dipping their toe in the corporate waters, what advice would you give to them to maybe be a word of encouragement, maybe give them a sense for like what to look out for, just to kind of give them a nod and say I see you, and there's more, right, on the other end of what you're striving for.
If you're just starting out, I would say that you're going to feel it in your gut. Like you're going to feel that feeling of anxiety because one, because you care, but two, because it's new. And we always say growth is uncomfortable. So you're going to be uncomfortable throughout the whole situation of negotiating was uncomfortable for me. But you have to just push through it, get to the other side, because future you is going to think and you into the anxiety you that's in the moment. Future you is going to thank you. And now I'm more excited for what's going to happen after the event than I am scared for being at the event. So just hold on. You got this.
Oh, thank you so much, Lindsay, for sharing your recent win, for sharing your perspective on how you are rocking your swagger to the boardroom and beyond. I am so, so excited to continue to cheer you on this journey. And I should also mention this ain't our first rodeo. Okay. So I tapped you on the shoulder to help us take our web presence to the next level. And you more than delivered. So share with folks where they can find out more about you, where they can keep up with you and all your fierceified goodness. Let the folks know.
So you can find me on LinkedIn and Facebook, Lindsay Trammell Jones, or you can go to my website at fierceified.agency. And I also have a podcast, More Than a Brand. So listen to me on More Than a Brand. It's definitely straight, no chaser. Me in the sneakers, not in the heels. That's a podcast. So, but that's where they can find me.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Lindsay, for spending some time with us today to share your swagger success story. And we look forward to continuing to celebrate your future wins.